Today is day 51 of 2026. In today's vlog, I basically want to talk about how mindset really plays a key role in determining how well you will do your work, how you will function, and how you will be perceived by others. There are different type of mentalities that I have observed over time by being the team lead. Not just about the project, but I would say I have led teams before, so I know what kinds of mentality of people exist, and there may be some which I'm currently not aware. But as I take on roles, I think I will be able to see some new kinds of personalities. There are some really good personality people and there's some really bad personality people, and I think it's not just about good or bad. It's about that kind of mindset not being suitable uh, for a particular kind of thing. So the first type of mentality that I would like to talk about is a typical student mentality. A typical student mentality is about doing the bare minimum needed to sometimes pass the exams, doing the bare minimum to or doing things just because they have to, not because they're interested to. Like, I have seen that they don't want to do anything apart from uh, the things that they have to just to get a degree in their hand. So these kind of people I've seen, like, for them it's like, okay, I got a degree, now I need to get a job, but they're not ready to struggle. I've seen that. Okay, struggling is like the last thing that they can think of. Another type of mentality is, I am not really interested in learning a lot, but I will figure it out. The figure it out mentality is one of the mentality that I really like, because they are a bit lazy when it comes to learning new things, but they have the mentality to figure it out. Like, they do something and somehow and get the work done. That is the kind of mentality that I really like. It's not the best mentality, but kind of I do like it. Another mentality is, I just want to keep learning and finding out new solutions. This is like an extension to the figure it out mentality, but they are much more reasoning. Like, they know why they are doing certain thing, unlike the figure it out mentality where they're just figuring out. But the figure here, it is a combination of the figure it out mentality, but with much more knowledge. Another mentality is, I will do only the work assigned to me, nothing extra. And this, for some it is like a default mode, for some it is a survival mechanism, because there was a time, like, many I've seen people, they do a lot, they try to keep things together. The mentality is to figure it out, learn, adapt. But when they see others doing things like in a way that really demotivates them, because they are not com- like making them feel competitive, I think you tend to decrease your way of functioning, and you really do not feel motivated to work to your highest potential. So, why mindset mentality is really important? if you go to see any company that comes, they have their own ethos, they have their own particular set of values, their own style of working, and why mentality and mindset plays into key role. You need to understand whether you really align your goals, your values, they align with what the company wants, or if you can inculcate those values, and whether you will flourish in that environment. I have seen like, most people never talk to us about this. The default things are entertained. I don't want to criticize it. For some it works, okay, it works. I have seen it works. For some people you really need to, like, micromanage them, tell them every single thing. But that is the typical cycle that goes on. You grow up, you go to school, you pass the exams, you go to college, you study, you have to get a job, you get a job, you get married, then you have kids, and then you go to grave. It's like a rule book that they are following. Now for some, this life that is like pictured in front of them, it works for them. But there are people for them who, there are very few people for whom that this is a question mark. Okay, it's a question mark. So 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 my question is, how well is the academic system where we claim that every child is unique, everyone has their own way of working, uh, and everyone has their own way of flourishing, is being taken into accountable? Is it being really taken into accountable, or we are still, like, forcing the same thing? I have, like, always questioned the academic system, the corporate system, basically on the way the things they are. To be honest, my mind doesn't work the way the majority people do. How do I know that? I always thought very differently from the way my own family people thought, from the way my own friends thought, from the way the world thought, like most majority people thought, the way things that I was told. Like I couldn't really resonate with it, or I couldn't really digest it. I always thought very differently, very out of the box thinking. And I really did not understand why I used to think that way. Like I always felt that I thought very, very uniquely. And there are a small percentage of people who do question things, and they can think for themselves and not abide by the rules that society makes. I'm saying, not saying that the rules are made of that do not work. They do work, okay? That's why they are existing. They are existing because they work, but they do not clearly work for every kind of person. That's the reason I would say that understanding your mindset, your mentality, your goals, your key moral values, what you can compromise and what you cannot, should be very clear to you. And most people who are just about to get into workforce clearly do not have that into picture with them. I don't want to blame them because they might have not faced life situations to that level. Many people do not face it until they're quite older, and many people do, and sometimes we call them as over mature, or basically it's not being over mature or being overgrown. It's basically just situations making you grow faster. I clearly do not want to brag about situations. There have been many situations, and I don't want to talk about it. For many things, small things are enough. For many people, they do not learn until they make many mistakes. For some people, one thing is enough. Small things are enough. They can reflect and they can think what really went wrong. Okay. You might have seen that there have been employees who quit because their bosses micromanage them. Now, the corporate world had this hierarchy from a long time. I agree, where there was a boss who had a manager, the manager had employees, and the employees worked, and the manager was showing the work to the boss, and that's how it worked. Okay, The manager was sometimes micromanaging, sometimes the boss was too toxic and they were too micromanaging, too demanding. That is why people quit, okay? There is no understanding of a particular type of person's working. That was the corporate majdoori, what they call it, okay? Now, if you want to promote it, normalize it, make it like this is how things are, I'm okay with it. But this is not for me, okay? It doesn't apply to me. I do not think that way. That is the first thing I want you to know. Second thing is, I cannot think that way because I don't know. I tried. It feels like it's not me who is this person. Like actually, I cannot. I feel violated doing that. Most of the people who are in the corporate, they have a lack of morality. I mean, not that kind of morality. I would say. I mean, key professional values. I would say in basic or key moral values that we think being honest, being truthful, being being truthful at the expense of being punished because people fear getting fired. People fear being held accountable for mistakes. But suppose that there is another kind of organization where this is not the case, where they really value a lot of things about aspects of employees' well-being. Many people will work in that place because for many people that is the case. But for a very small proportion of people, the thing is having similar values, similar goals, okay, that drives them to be better. So different people have different motivations. People have different values. The same thing, but they want different things from the same thing. That is also possible, and I agree. So when I am leading a team, my things are simple. I want you to be equally responsible. When a work is assigned, you are supposed to complete it. You cannot say to me that I do not know. Okay, if you tell me also I do not know, I don't mind it. I will give you basic guidance, but the rest you have to figure it out on your own. You have to build. That's the reason I said that I like the figure it out mentality because there is something that I really believe in and I really resonate with those kind of mindset people. The second thing is accountability. You should be accountable of what work you have done. You have made mistake or not made, you tell me. Third thing is ownership. If there is a thing that you're working with me on, you are equally responsible for that work to make sure that work is done. If we have to present it or show it somewhere, not that I have to do it. So these three things, responsibility, accountability, ownership, should be there within you if you ever plan to work with me. If not, please stay away from me. You will be disappointed, you will be hurt, which I do not want to. But sometimes it creates frustration. Maybe next time when I'm leading a team, I think I should make it very clear that if only these things are being met, can we work together? Otherwise, it's simply going to create frustration from both the sides. Because my goal is I want you to work out of your comfort zone. I want you, we I should be on the same goal, having the same value, either the same value, but basically the same mentality that we will do it no matter what, and we are equally responsible to get the work done. Not that since I am taking the lead, it's like my job. No, that's not the kind of mentality that I want. That's the thing I learned actually after struggling so much. Another thing is not being too helpful because they indirectly start relying on you too much. It's better to let them struggle, okay, a bit. That is how you learn and grow. Giving is just relying on their key skills, on only what they're good at. You're never going to get good at the things you're not good at. I've in corporate also the same thing. They focus more on things that you're good at, okay? But the philosophy that I work on is totally different. I believe that you have to get exposed. You can suck at things, okay, at start, but you have to be exposed to things that you're not good at to be good at it. Basically, if you have voluntarily taken part, and I'm not saying forceful, but you're like voluntary, like you've been made part of a project. If you even if you do not like parts of the project, the process, even if you do not like it, you have to do those things. Do what you not like, okay, and then you're gonna grow. You're gonna suck at it. And people who are promoting only doing things that are good at, please, it may work, I agree. It has been going on in the corporate world, going on everywhere, but that's not a philosophy that I work on. So with that, I end day 51 of 2026.